Hello, it's Emil from Mindful Movement Coaching. Today's video, I'm presenting on a case study that I just want to go over how I'm using the steel mace and the club to help a client recover from an injury. So this client is a high-performing athlete. He's currently under the care of a physical therapist who I've spent some time working with. He's one of the best physical therapists I've worked with, quite frankly. And he's helping this client excel and heal quickly. So pretty serious injury as it relates to, we're gonna say 3 of the hamstrings avulsed. So we've got 4 hamstrings, one of them doesn't cross the hip joint. So the ones that do cross up at the hip joint have been seriously injured. So we're exposing this individual in a graded manner to squats. So an example of using the steel mace is what I'll go over as well. And then he's currently has an AC separation on one shoulder, but his other shoulder's functional. And this gentleman is a javelin thrower, and I believe he's currently ranked at least in the top 3 world right now in his age group. So very motivated, talented athlete. I feel very fortunate I have the opportunity to work with this gentleman. So I just want to give a case study, give you some examples of how we're using these implements and the value of this type of training when used intelligently to augment and help your training. So let's get started with it. So this athlete was performing a goblet squat. So the physical therapist was trying to come up with a way to start in a graded manner to load the athlete with a squat. And so, we were thinking, okay, let's use a kettlebell. So the client was trying to use a kettlebell, but unfortunately, because of the AC separation, he was getting some movement in the shoulder. Right now, we don't want any movement to occur. We want that AC separation to heal to its fullest potential. So what we were able to do is use the offset loading of a steel mace. The shaft of the steel mace permits the client to keep good shoulder retraction. Thus, when you're doing a goblet squat, if you hold that kettlebell, your shoulders will tend to close down. The other problem with the goblet squat is depending upon the mobility that you have, and I don't want to get into squat mechanics here too much, you're going to tend to fall forward. So as falling forward, that's going to put a load on the shoulder while it's already in closed down position. So we're able to make some adjustments with the performance of the squat, but making use of a steel mace to add some loading so that we can eventually get the client to move with a little bit more weight as we progress. So we're going to make use of some terminology as it's used in Viking Ninja Systems and TAC Fit. So we were using a steel mace in a crossbody high position, and the athlete was performing squats in crossbody high position. Because of the position here, he's able to activate his uninvolved arm. He's able to activate the arm that's engaging the spear, and he got no extra movement occurring in the region where he had the AC separation. So we did 2 versions. We did crossbody high, and we did crossbody low. Static versions is what we referenced with the performance of those exercises, so there was no fluid movement with regards to switch. Progression over time would be doing a fluid or static switch and maintaining good stability throughout that movement. But for the time being, he's in a static position with no switches. The other modification that we made with the squat was a wider stance with the toes out pointed. Or out externally rotated, the feet externally rotated. What that permitted was now with a narrower stance when you're doing a squat, or let's say just toes point straight ahead, if you have long femurs, those hips are gonna come back, and then based on your control in the lower pelvic floor, your core control and your hip movement, not everybody has that natural ability to squat based on their hip mechanic. So we could decrease, in a sense, the distance that was forcing the hips back because of the femur length by having a wider stance and letting those knees come out on one of those examples, and we was able to maintain a more upright body position as opposed to a narrower front-loaded squat and tending to fall forward. Now, moving on to the club. Now, we were not and are not using the club in a sense on the injured side. However, we are working with Indian clubs and we're doing bilateral movements using mills within ranges of motion that don't overly challenge the injured side. But important, the healthy side should still be worked. If we're activating and training one side, it will have some benefit to the opposing side. So basic exercises we've been working on the uninjured side have been shoulder mills with intent on good mechanics and elbow positioning. So 90-degree positioning at the elbow, straight wrist, slight lean forward when you're holding, or excuse me, back if you will, on the club when holding it correctly. So we were working shoulder casts, and then this one here, your shield cast. And the shield cast now, it's putting a little bit of challenge through those hamstrings with some torso rotation. I'm not going to get into great detail about the mechanics and performance of the shield cast. This again is just a quick little case study of understanding how we're helping this athlete progress with unconventional training. And then secondly, we started to work mills. So last week we were doing mills in a static manner, meaning we were stopping at each range of motion and then passing through fluidly. And that's currently where we are now. So we're working a front mill and then we're working a reverse mill. Now, if you watched the shield cast in the beginning, the shield cast prepares you to do front and reverse mills well and controlled. So when working with any implement that has a lot of fluid or dynamic movement to it, it's really important to own the landmarks at each position prior to a fluid transition. Owning those landmarks starts to offer some assurance that you're going in the right direction and you're reducing the likelihood of having an overuse injury or having an So they're an example of some exercises of how we're using unconventional training in a rehabilitative manner. Quite frankly, if you're working with unconventional training and you're new to it, it's a great way to train, especially if you live a nomadic lifestyle and you say you have a van or you have the ability to travel with these tools. There's so much that you can do with regards to working with just some light weight that challenges you to maintain good postural alignment while you're going through, say, a standard movement like a squat or a hinge. So that's it in a nutshell. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to the channel, give me a like, and I offer virtual training. So if you're interested in learning more about how to utilize these implements, if you own them, in your current exercise plan, feel free to reach out, set up a video session. I'll be happy to work with you. I also design workouts that are personalized for you based on the use of these implements. So at the end of this video, I'll leave my email, emil@mymovecoach.com. Go to the channel, you'll see some other additional approaches to training that I offer, body weight flow training, as well as some conventional type training using dumbbells and so forth. All right, you guys, have a good day.